This is huge news. The International Criminal Court prosecutor just announced his intent to seek arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. What does it mean for Israel? Join me for the latest update. Today we're talking about the shocking news coming from the ICC with the prosecutor seeking to issue arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Gallant. This isn't just a legal issue. Let's be clear. It's a direct challenge to Israel's right to defend itself. Let's break down what this means for Israel.
The outrageous decision by the ICC prosecutor, Karim Khan, to seek arrest warrants against the democratically elected leaders of Israel is a moral outrage of historic proportions.
Don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Israel's situation and visit theisraelstore.com for all your pro-Israel gear. The ICC's chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, said they want to charge Netanyahu and Gallant for crimes against humanity. They claim Israel used starvation as a weapon in Gaza, caused great suffering, and committed willful killings. Khan said Israel's actions are part of a systematic attack on Palestinian civilians. First of all, I saw with my own eyes how humanitarian aid is entering into the Gaza Strip in the masses, more than ever before. So the starvation accusation is just ridiculous. The governing authority in Gaza, Hamas, is the one responsible for any starvation accusation as it steals aid from the people. But then these images are coming from the markets in Gaza that paint quite a different picture. This does not look like starvation to me. Let's talk about the systematic attack on Palestinian civilians. The IDF spends so much money and energy, probably more than any army in the world, on warning civilians. It systematically cares for Palestinians, not attacking them. It drops leaflets warning civilians. It makes phone calls to people in Gaza to warn them. It sends tons of aid to people. It deploys drones with speakers to speak to people, to tell them to evacuate. It purchased tents for evacuated civilians, and it gives medical care for Palestinian civilians. Not to talk about the era before the war when Palestinians from Gaza were coming to work in Israel and get medical care in Israel. So how will Netanyahu respond? Well, first of all, he rejected outright these charges. Netanyahu argues that Israel has every right to defend itself against Hamas, a terrorist group that uses civilians as human shields. He also said that Israel's military actions were necessary to protect its people and free hostages.
Mr. Khan creates a twisted and false moral equivalence between the leaders of Israel and the henchmen of Hamas. This is like creating a moral equivalence after September 11th between President Bush and Osama bin Laden.
He said that Israel's legal system is independent and acts in accordance with international law. But what's interesting is the lack of interest by the ICC in investigating abuse of Iranian civilians under the Islamic regime or the persecution of Christians in Nigeria by radical Islamists. They turn a blind eye to the actual crimes against humanity and put their entire focus on the one island of sanity in the Middle East, the one democracy in the Middle East, Israel. Netanyahu's response to the ICC was powerful. His words were a rallying cry, not just for Israel, but for democracies everywhere. He warned that the ICC's actions could cripple any country's ability to fight terrorism. Now they go after Israel, but tomorrow they can go after any other Western country. Netanyahu is clear. Israel will not be intimidated by international courts targeting its right to self-defense. This fight is far from over. Israel is preparing to battle on all fronts, legal, diplomatic, and I think that Netanyahu's words show Israel's determination to protect its sovereignty and security against terrorist threats. These shocking news from the ICC is a major escalation, don't get me wrong. It challenges not only Israel, but the principles of a state sovereignty and self-defense. Because at the end of the day, if your country would have been attacked the same way Israel was attacked, your country would have responded probably in the same exact way, or at least that's what you would expect and hope for a powerful, strong army to protect you and your family against savages who want to kill you and your family. Now, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about these news coming from the ICC and Netanyahu's response? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Stay informed and stand with Israel.